Back to a full slate of Major League Baseball on Tuesday, almost exclusively all interleague games. That's always fun. Plus, we're going to talk about the total for Game 2 of the NBA Finals. Getting us started, though, today, Mark Zinno, a new look here to say the least on the program. But you think there's a team? How am I going to do a show with you looking like that? You think there's a team that's undervalued on Tuesday? Tell us about that so I can forget about your hat.
Well, look, I'm just saying, this outfit is an inspiration outfit just simply because, when you have a bad night like I had last night, you try to just emulate what others do. And, other successful people do. And I believe successful people dress like this. And so they get laughed at. They still dress like this. So that said, let's move on to my play for the day of the Detroit Tigers against the Washington Nationals. Look, straight fade here of the Nats, right? They come into this game. They won 3 straight at home against the Atlanta Braves of all teams. Tigers are a short favorite in this spot here, and they are starting Kenta Maeda, who has been, what's the word you want to call it, BP? Bad, right? Like, that's just kind of what he's been this whole season. His ERA is in the 6s. He hasn't been consistent, hasn't been good. He's the weak link in that rotation, and yet the Tigers are still favored. Washington is starting Mitchell Parker. Now, Parker has been very good this year. He's a starter that I've played on a bunch. However, his home road splits not working well away from Nats Park in D.C. A 2.45 ERA and a 1.96 opposing batting average against at home. Those numbers jump up to 4.31 ERA on the road and a 2.50 batting average against. He's walked 10 batters at home on the road, rather, compared to just 2 at home. So this is straight fade of the Nats here. Let's get a little bit opportunistic. The Nats had to play, that series against the Mets, then get out on the road. I'm sorry, the series against the Braves, then get out on the road. And so we'll look to the Tigers here at a very short money line price here to get a win at home. You muted yourself, BP.
Right. I also am looking at a home team here on Tuesday. Although they are a slight underdog, I will be playing them on the run line, therefore, plus half a run. Cincinnati Reds, the Ohio Cup. Zinno starts today, one of the most prestigious trophies in all of sports. And I know this is a bit of an underdog or a bit of an anti-swagger spot, pardon me, for the Reds. They just had a win streak snapped on Sunday when they failed to sweep the Cubs. They're also going with a bullpen game. But what I'm looking to do here is a straight fade of Guardian starter Tristan McKenzie. Last 3 starts, McKenzie is a 7.05 ERA, 1.826 whip, yet the team has won all 3 of those games. That's crazy. He's winless on the road still, even though the team is 2-2. The Guardians have been getting really lucky with McKenzie on the mound, guys. You look at these numbers. He hasn't been going deep into games either. Those last 3 starts I mentioned, 5 1/3 innings or less in all 3. We're getting the half-run head start. We just need the Reds to stay even for the first 5. They are 12-4 overall, their last 16 games. I like what the Reds have been doing overall. The Guardians, we've talked about it a lot this season. The offense has been better than expected. A lot of that's been at home, though. And I definitely want to leave the bullpens out of the equation here. Cleveland has a major edge when this game gets to the relievers. I've said it before. I'll say it again. They may have the best bullpen in all of baseball. So let's go Reds plus half a run in the first 5 for my half of the double play to go along with Mark's play on the Tigers. Show best bet coming up in just a minute. But first, we just want to remind you, 7-day special. You get 7 days worth of picks from your favorite WagerTalk handicapper for just $77. No coupon needed on this, guys. There's no limit on how many handicappers you can choose. You can use it on Mark. You can use it on myself. You can use it on both of us. You can use it on both of us and other handicappers at WagerTalk. No limit, but it is a great time to get on board. I will have my Game 3 selections, for the NBA Finals up on my page. They'll probably be up by the time you're listening to this, quite frankly. We'll have some baseball as well for Tuesday. Mark, what do you got cooking over on your page?
Looking for a bounce back day, guys. No way around it. It was a bad day yesterday for yours truly. So hence the outfit, obviously. But we'll get back at it today, continuing to try to stay hot in Major League Baseball. I went on a 6-3 run prior to yesterday, but we'll get 2 plays up on the site for you guys today, all for $19. Make sure you go to wt.buzz/MZ and go grab them over there.
Mark Zinno now sans hat. What a time, I guess, to get into our best bet, Mark. Yesterday's best bet on the show, by the way, easy winner with San Diego.
Yeah.
Yes, easy winner there. They tell you not to lay the 1.5 for the home team. Well, we did it anyway, and the Padres rolled as expected against the A's. For today's best bet, the algorithms will like this, Mark, because we're going to talk about Paul Skeens. And the Pirates are in St. Louis. Skeens has been getting a lot of run support, Mark, but we just like him to get the job done against the St. Louis team that I don't like. I think St. Louis is bad. So we're not going to overthink this, and we're going to take the kid as a short road favorite, huh?
Yeah, I mean, look, obviously Skeen's numbers are eye-popping, and I'll throw them out there to you real quick. But his 2 road starts, he's gone a total of 12 innings, given up just 2 runs and struck out 20. Is that good? Okay, I was just checking. This is a St. Louis Cardinals team. When we talk about, their ability to hit the ball at home, very middle of the road. They're not a great team when it comes to batting average, OPS, and WRC plus. Again, smack down the 15, 16, 17 range. So they're not necessarily an offense you need to worry about. And their K rate is middle of the road, right? Like it's not a high, it's not a low number. It's nothing that is eye popping. So, but Skeens has the advantage here. Every time he faces a team that hasn't seen him yet, he gets the advantage. And that's really what this is. Little concerned about him after the big win over the Dodgers at home, going out on the road here. I think that's a fair spot. But what's the counter here, BP? Well, Miles Mikolas is starting.
Yes.
He's also what we would call bad. 5.32 ERA and a 1.28 whip. This is not a starter that I ever want to back. And the Pirates have been scoring a ton of runs as of late in general. Their offense is starting to come around. So even in the game that they lost against the Twins in the finale, they still scored 5 runs. So I like the bats here, like the starter, obviously, for Pittsburgh, going against a bad starter for St. Louis. Gives us the Pirates here, short money line favorite for our play of the day.
45 runs. That's what the Pirates have scored in Skeen's 5 starts. So the Pirates are your best bet here for Tuesday. Let us know what you think of that down in the comments section below. Also, feel free to go ahead and drop your favorite bet for Major League Baseball on Tuesday. Let us know what you think about the NBA Finals as well. We'll be talking about that in just a minute. While you're at it, smash that like button. Give us the old thumbs up. We greatly appreciate your support here on The Morning Wager, where Mark and I are dropping free plays Monday through Friday every single day on WagerTalk TV. And if you're not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Just click that subscribe button. That way you don't miss any of the exclusive sports betting content we drop here on the YouTube channel. All right, Mark, tomorrow is Game 3 of the NBA Finals. Yesterday, if you tuned in, we talked about our impressions of the opening number. We talked about, maybe looking at the first half and historically how teams down 0-2 perform in the first half. You can check the archives for that discussion. Today, I want to talk about the total because these 2 teams have not been shooting well, obviously, in the first 2 games. The pace has been very slow. Dallas is clearly not looking to run like Indiana was against Boston. Totals dropped a little bit. So in Game 1, obviously, we had the big influx of over money. Game 2, the total really didn't move as much, still stayed under. So odds makers have adjusted a little bit as they needed to, dropping this number a couple points. 212.5 is where the total sits. Is this adjustment enough to make you want to consider the over for Game 3?
No, this isn't the bottom of the market. It's not. I mean, look, if you're buying into the zigzag theory and you believe that Dallas is going to win this game, then they have to do it with defense. They're not going to outscore Boston. They're just not. They don't have the players to do it. Without Boston having a bad shooting night like they had in Game 2, they're not going to be able to outscore Boston. Like, it's not, they don't want to get into a pace war. They don't want to get into a shooting war with Boston. They're going to lose. So they have to play great defense. The only way for Dallas to win this game is for it to stay under the total. So, this may be a better spot to jump on Boston's team total over, right? You're going to get a much more favorable number there, given the 110.5 that we saw in the first 2 games. And I'm just grabbing the number here just to see where we are. But, Boston's now at 105.5. They landed on 105 the last 2 games. So, and Dallas is up to, again, another spot. Dallas at 107.5 for a team total seems way high for a team that can't shoot. That's
except that guy.
Crazy. Except that guy. Yeah, except that Luka guy. Other than that, nobody's making shots. Now they go back home, so you expect him to sort of have some positive regression and some regression to the mean of what their numbers are. But, I mean, Boston, if they go over their team total, then guess what? I don't think they're losing the game.
You talked about returning home. Who always plays better at home? Role players play better at home. And that is what Dallas needs. Because, again, I point to it. I didn't think Kyrie Irving was going to have a good series. I don't think he's got that big game in him. I don't know what's up with it's been even worse than I expected.
And I expected this.
Okay.
Let me ask you this about the Dallas role players. Who are the shooters who are going to help Kyrie and Luka? If Al Horford isn't in foul trouble and Porzingis is healthy, Gafford, Lively, and Washington, they're all big men. So do you expect them to drop 25 just with their back to the basket? These guys aren't great shooters.
Well, we saw it from PJ Washington earlier in the playoffs. And, what was that? The Oklahoma City series where the guy just couldn't miss he was getting those wide open looks. Another thing, too, with Dallas and their offense, what Boston has done a great, great job at preventing in the first two games. The lobs, we saw Dallas just getting a lot of lobs at the basket in the first three rounds, and we saw them getting a lot of corner threes. They have not been getting any corner threes. Again, the number of three-point attempts we've seen from the Mavs, we talked a little bit about this yesterday, it's concerning to me. The fact they've only gotten off 27 and 26, they're not getting good looks. I really think the only argument for a full game over here, Mark, I agree with a lot of what you just said, is that we're talking about two teams combined to go 16 of 65 from three in the last. That is horrific. That is real stinky right there. So there's going to be some improvement, but, there was improvement from Dallas. I was like, well, Dallas is going to improve offensively in game two. They did. It wasn't enough to get over their team total. So, yeah, it's interesting. You brought up Boston's team total. A little light bulb went over my head when you're talking about. I like that angle, to be honest with you. I don't like the Dallas team total, but Boston, considering they've scored 105 and 107, and they're at 105 and a half, and they're off a bad shooting game, that's worth kind of a look. Who knows? Maybe that might be the show best bet for tomorrow. Tune in for that. But that's it for today here on The Morning Wager. We'll be back, like I said, with more on Game 3 tomorrow and a full slate of Major League Baseball as well. Until then, let's cash some tickets.